Hi everybody, this is our Tuesday evening practice session, and we're going to be working on the elbows in particular and the elbows and knees in general, trying to get those lively through the form. So, you know what we like to start with, the good old bear. So give it a shot, doing the bear a little bit. Use this moment to really feel what's going on. Get in touch with how your body is doing, how your mind is doing. What does it tangibly feel like right now? And while you're doing this, go ahead and work on some of the standard posture points. Pay attention to the rear crown of the head, the body as if suspended from above, so that the whole body can hang down from the head. So the feeling of suspending from above isn't about pushing the head up, but is about letting the body hang down. So feel that hanging down from the rear crown of the head. And at the far opposite end, pay attention to your feet on the ground. Find the tripod in each foot. It's easiest to feel when you're shifting the weight into a foot. So when I turn to the right, feel the tripod on the right foot. When I turn to the left, feel the tripod on your left foot. Find all 3 points of the tripod in each foot, and make sure that throughout the motion, all 3 points are in contact with the ground. So the feet are quiet on the ground, even as the weight shifts and you turn. In the middle, let your mind rest in the dantian, 2 fingers below the belly button, 3/7 of the way in. So basically right in the center. Really try to feel like that's the place that all the motion is happening around. So it's not just a spot in your belly that you think about, but actually try to inhabit your abdomen and have that be the place where you are. Awareness resting in the dantian, like there's a meditation cushion there. And you're just relaxed, nice and easy in your belly. Feel the hands like they're moving through water, so the air gets the substance of water. Feel that air parting right in front of the palm of the hand that's swinging in front of you. So when you turn to the right, the left palm swings in front of you. Turn to the left, the right palm swings. And feel the air getting out of the way 1 millimeter, 1 nanometer, just right in front of your hand. So you can feel the air as if it had the substance of water. And while you're doing this, let the whole body relax. Any tension melting off of you, just let it go. Finding any place you're tight and letting it soften. Feeling the rear crown of the head as if suspended, the open body hanging down. Feeling the feet on the ground, bubbling wells open to earth, Tripod in each foot stays connected all the way through the motion, even as the weight pours in and out of a foot. The feet are quiet on the ground. Letting the mind rest in the dantian. Centered in your center. Watching the movement happen around the dantian. Feeling the belly soften. Feeling the lower back soften. The whole abdomen. Lots of room in there for your awareness. Feeling the hands moving through the air as if it had the substance of water. So feel the air parting right in front of your hand. And relaxing the whole body. Letting go of any tension. Let it just melt off you. A couple more. And take a break. Okay, so I said we were going to pay attention to the elbows and to a lesser degree to the knees. And the first thing we got to do is just got to be aware of them changing. So obviously, when I move my hand, the elbow changes. Right? There's no way to take my hand from here towards my head without a change happening in the elbow. What happens to us a lot is that we forget about the elbow and we're all fixated on the hand. And while we're doing that, the elbow can end up doing all of its own weird things. So what we're going to pay attention to here today is the motion of the elbow in the way that it assists the motion of the arm as a whole, in the way that it follows the motion of the hand, in the way that it relates to the shoulder. So let's do a first third. And in this first third, I want you to really try to become aware of the changes that are happening in the elbows. And some of them are pretty small. So right here at the very beginning of the form, when I sink into my right leg and I allow the left knee to float, watch what's happening to my arms. They're bowing just a little bit here. And so that means there's a change happening in the elbow, just for that little bit. So the elbow change can be small. It can also be big. Obviously, there's a whole bunch of change happening in the elbow all the way through this. That was a lot of elbow change. But sometimes the elbow change is small. But in any case, it's always changing. So let's do a first third. I want you to really notice the changes that the elbows go through. Oh, Beth says there's a spider crawling on me. Okay. Let's just do this first move a couple times. Sink into the right leg, allow the left heel to float, and watch what happens to your elbows. And stand back up. As you do this, the hands here, all the weight in the arms is dropping down through the arms. As you sink, feel a bowing, a liveliness in the arms happening with the elbow. Once more, sinking. Feel that sinking reflected into the elbow. Okay, now let's do the whole first third. And go ahead. Feeling your elbows moving through space. Sometimes the angle at the elbow will change. That'll change the position of the hand. Other times the elbow just comes along with the motion, but it's always moving in space. So be aware of the motion of both elbows, not just one or the other, but both elbows. Feel the elbows moving through space. A lot of change in the elbows through this part. Watching the changes in both elbows. And close. So with all of these things, we need to really work to bring our awareness to what our body is doing and what the motions are. This is what we call conscious movement. So paying attention to the elbows means that you know what the elbows are doing. It doesn't mean that you drive the moves from the elbows. So the thing about the elbow is that it's between the shoulder and the wrist. It needs to connect well from the body out to the hand. So if the elbow's in the wrong place, then you won't be able to actually get the energy and the motion to go all the way out to the hands. But the elbow, by and large, follows. One of Yang Cheng Fu's 10 points says that the shoulders should sink and the elbows should hang. And so there's two different verbs there, and I think that difference is meaningful. Sinking is an actively moving down towards something, moving down towards the ground. It's a motion that goes in a direction. Hanging is a moving away from something. So the point isn't that the elbow go down, the point is that the elbow hang away from the shoulder. So you want to be feeling this part getting longer and hanging, not necessarily that you're trying to push the elbow down to the ground. So we're going to do another first third, and I want you to pay attention to that way that the elbow follows the motion. There's a notion that the elbows and the hips are also connected. This is all part of a set of principles that's sometimes called the 6 harmonies. It could also be the 6 correspondences or the 6 unities. And in those, there's a harmony between the shoulders and the hips. So the shoulders and the hips should always stay with each other. So anytime you're twisting, not only is that not turn the waist, but it breaks the unification or the harmonization between the shoulders and the hips. So the shoulders and the hips have a harmony. The hands and the feet have a harmony, a unification. And so when we talk about feeling your feet in your hands, having that line of energy, that line of the motion that comes unbroken from the feet all the way out through the hands, you're working on the harmony, unification of the feet and the hands. And then the other one is the elbows and the knees. And so that one is, I think, the hardest to perceive. Along the way there, we want to see how the knees are connected to the hips are connected to the shoulders are connected to the elbows. And so that means that the path from knee to elbow goes through all of that. And an important piece there is the hips to the elbow. So there's a notion that it's almost like there's a connection from the hip to the elbow. When the hip moves back, it gradually pulls the elbow back. When the hip moves forward, it moves the elbow forward. And so you're really wanting to get the elbow in the right place. When I do a move like going into single whip and I mess my elbows up, if I come through here and I lead with the elbow as I'm going into single whip, I lead with the elbow, you can see that motion there is not harmonious at all. And you can also see how it messes up my shoulder. So I want to have this feeling that as I'm coming into single whip, the hip to the elbow, there's a good relationship there. If I come too far here and then I do something like this, you can see this whole arm is messed up and that motion did not have any correspondence from hip to elbow. So we're going to do another first third. And while we're doing this first third, I want you to really feel that way that the hip moves and the elbow moves in harmony with it, that the motion of the hip and the elbow are unified. It's the right hip to the right elbow, the left hip to the left elbow. There's no complicated crossing going here. Just really feel right hip connected to right elbow, left hip connected to left elbow. So let's do first third. And when you're doing this, I want you to see how where your elbows are is a consequence of the entire shape of the entire motion, rather than something that you independently control. And getting this connection from hip to elbow will be key for that. So let's do it again. Feeling that connection. Standing here right away, as you move, feel the relationship between your hips and your elbows. And go ahead. Okay, as you go into ward off left here, feel the hips and the elbows moving together. The elbows never get out of your domain. Their motion is a result of the entire motion of the body, and they move in harmony, in correspondence, in unity with the whole motion. Left hip pulls back the left elbow. As the right hip turns, it moves the right elbow. Coming back to the front, each hip moves its elbow. Especially here, it's easy to feel as you come forward into the push. As you extend the hook, really feel how the right hip is almost pushing the right elbow forward. And feel the correspondence between left hip and left elbow as you come into single whip. Going into shoulder strike, feel that left hip, left elbow connection. Feel it all the way through here. Don't let the elbows get away from the rest of the body. The hips turn, that moves the elbows. In turn, the elbows move the hands. As you go into this big step, keep the hips and the elbows in harmony with each other. Opening the fist, the right hip moves the right elbow. And going into the push, each hip moves its elbow. So one of the things you can look for is places where the hip and the elbow disconnect. And that'll show you a place where your elbow has probably done the wrong thing. If I'm doing white crane into brush knee, and I turn here, and my arm gets behind me, that last bit of motion, here, elbow and hip might be nicely connected. Here, the elbow moves on its own. Nothing happened in the hip. So as I'm doing this, I want to really feel this connection here so that the elbow is in my domain, so that the elbow is related to what I'm doing here. Same thing happens on the other side. As I come up for the hand coming over here, I need to still feel that connection. If instead I do this, that elbow moved a foot or so all on its own, and it'll twist the whole rest of the body. So do that one just for a second with me. White crane into brush knee. So starting from white crane, and turn, stop when the arms swing up in the corner, and see if your elbows are still in your domain. And now pull your elbows out of your space, and feel that difference. And now let them come back to where you could feel a reasonable connection, and continue into brush knee. Keeping everything in harmony all the way through here. Once more, back to white crane. And just go ahead. Feel how the elbows are changing, but they're a harmonious part of the entire movement. Okay, so I'm going to fast forward ahead. We're going to work on this in fist under elbow. And I'm going to spend a little time going over checkpoints and details of fist under elbow so that we know exactly where we're going. And then I'm going to turn it over to Beth, who's going to do the cool, fun stuff as we actually move through that in continuous motion. Now there's two ways to practice. There's two notions of how to do the form. One is square form and one is round form. In square form, we're concerned about all of the checkpoints, all of the landmarks, all of the specific places that you need to go through, and we're really trying to find them. It's like a connect the dots drawing, and square form is all about the dots. And if I have a bunch of dots and I connect them in the right order, I can end up with something that looks like a cat. So square form is we're showing you where all of those dots are, all of the milestones and checkpoints. Round form is you actually draw a cat. You actually make a piece of art. You actually move smoothly through it. And when you do round form, you have to go through each of the dots, but you don't just draw a straight line from one dot to another. You can draw a curve. And so Ben would say to us, I teach you square form, you have to figure out round form. Somebody like Maggie or our teacher Jane really worked on round form all the time. How do you make those motions? How do the gestures play out? What happens there? So I find it useful to work on both sides of this, square and round. Square because you really learn the checkpoints and landmarks. Round because Tai Chi is fundamentally an aesthetic experience. It's an artwork that we get to participate inside of, and round drawings are much more artistic than connect the dot drawings. So let's do the connect the dots first, and then we'll come back and work on the roundness. So for those of you who might have just learned the first third, Beth is about to do a video that'll be up sometime within a couple days of this being up, showing you the move that comes right first third, embrace tiger, return to mountain. And then what you do is you just get yourself around to single whip in the other corner. That's where we're going to start. So we're going to start in single whip in if you started facing to the front, in the left front corner. So take a single whip to the corner, and let's see, moving so I hope you can see both of us. And just go ahead. Sit back, the forearm lays down, the rear hook hand opens up. Turn the waist in order to take a step. Shift, the front hand extends. Take a small step to the corner. Everything happens at once. Shift, turn, pivot on the ball of the left foot. Right palm vertical, left palm towards the rear corner. Gather, everything comes in. And turn back to the front. Fist under elbow. Final posture, all the weight is in the back. You can see me picking my foot up. The right fist is directly under the left elbow. The left hand angles in so that it's pointed towards my mirror image's throat. And the whole body is relaxed. Again, we'll break it up. take it from single whip. So the first motion is to sit back all the weight and open the right hook hand so that the palm is vertical. Just come back into single whip. Sit back 100%, open the right hook hand. Make sure you're really 100%, let that front foot float off the ground. And now do it again. Sit back 100%, left forearm lays down, right hook hand opens up, all the weight is in the back. So take a break. Showing it to you. I'm here in single whip. As I sit back, my left forearm lays down, so the forearm comes down. Don't let the hand drop below the elbow, but let the whole arm straighten. As you do that, the right hook hand opens up. The palm is vertical, it's here at my side. And as I do that, all my weight is in the back, so that it's easy to pick up my front foot. Notice what happens to the left hand. Because I don't start out with my elbow in a weird place, when the left hand lays down, the left hand and the left foot are directly over each other. Because the left hand started out in front of the left shoulder is related to the left hip is related to the left foot. I sit back and the hand and foot are right over each other, so that I can turn my waist and move the left hand and the left foot until they're pointed straight to the wall I'm about to go to. Let's do that. Single whip to the corner. Sit back 100%. Right hook hand opens up, left forearm lays down. Turn your waist so the left foot and the left hand are pointed to 90 degrees from where you started, the left front. Back to single whip. Sit back 100%. Forearm lays down, right hook hand opens up. Turn the waist. Left hand, left foot pointed towards the wall. Once more. Sit back 100%. Forearm lays down, right hook hand opens up. Turn the waist. All your weight is still in the right foot. Now shift 100% forward in the left, letting the left hand extend. Right foot comes up on the ball, and take a small step with the right foot towards now it's the right front corner. All the weight stays in the left. Take a break. So I sit back. I turn my waist. I shift and I allow the left fingers to extend. My right foot comes up on the ball, and now I let the right foot take a little step. Let me make sure you can see my feet. So look what the right foot did. It's angled. It's not parallel to the left foot. It's not pointed out too wide. Make sure it's to the corner or very slightly inside, and it's slightly behind the other foot. If you want a checkpoint, the checkpoint is that the tip of the toes of the right foot should line up with the instep of the left foot, or equally, the instep of the right foot lines up with the heel of the left foot. So in particular, it is not a big step. For all the times we try to get you all to take big steps, this one is a small step. So don't take a big step here. Go ahead and let it just be, from here, an easy little step. And keep your weight in the left. Again. Single whip to the corner. Sit back, left forearm lays down, right hook hand opens up. Turn the waist to move the left hand and left foot to the front wall there. Shift, extending the left fingers. Small step with the right foot. Now, here's where everything happens. Shift to the right, turn to the left, pivot on the ball of the left foot, and stop here. The waist should be in the corner. All the weight is in the right foot. The right palm is vertical, faced directly ahead of you. The left palm is open towards the left rear corner. Take a break. I sit back, hook hand opens. I turn my waist. I shift my weight forward, extending. I take a small step. Now everything happens at once. I'm going to shift from my left leg to my right leg, and as I do that, the waist turns. I'm going to shift from my left leg to my right leg, and as I do that and the waist turns, the left foot pivots on the ball. While this is going on, the arms change too. So I turn, right palm vertical directly in front of me, left palm open towards the left rear corner. All the weight is in the rear foot. Let's do it. Sit back 100%, opening the hook hand, turn the waist. Step, shift, forward extending. Little step with the right foot. Waist is still to the right of front. Now, shift, turn, pivot on the ball. Let the arms swing and stop here. Make sure your right palm is vertical directly in front of you. I can't see you, so I can't tell. People often take the right hand further than it needs to be. It should be pointed right straight ahead of you. The left palm is open towards the bottom corner, and all your weight is in your right foot. You can float that left foot trivially. Again. Sit back 100%, forearm lays down, right hook hand opens up. Turn the waist to move the left hand and left foot. Shift forward, extending the left fingers. Nice and easy, take a little step with the right foot. Everything happens at once. Shift and turn, pivot on the ball, hands change. All the weight in the right leg. Now sink, bring your left hand and right arm in and bring your left foot in. Make sure the waist is still left of center. Take a break. And we're almost there with the square form stuff. So I sit back, I turn, I shift, I take a little step. Everything happens at once. Now watch where my waist is. It's left of center. This, for where I started right now, is square. My waist is left of center. I'm going to bring the hands and the foot in, and my waist is still left of center. This is one of the places where people's waists spring back and face the front when they shouldn't. So I turn here. When I gather, I stay left of center rather than gathering and already being back to the front. Gather, stay left of center, then I'm going to turn back to the front. As I turn back to the front, my left foot comes in and steps out with the heel. My left fingers come in and come into the final posture. And as they're doing that, they go over my right wrist. So they come in over the right wrist, and the right hand makes a fist as I reach to the end. So let's do it a couple more times. Then I'll have ground the square form part, and Beth will make this into art, and we'll get to move nicely. Okay. Sit back 100%. Left forearm lays down, right fingertips open up. Turn the waist to move the hands and foot. Shift forward, extending the left fingers. Take a little step with the right foot to the corner, slightly behind the left foot. Everything happens at once. Shift, turn, pivot on the ball. Stop at this checkpoint, right palm vertical directly in front of you, left palm open towards the rear, left foot is empty, check it, make sure you can float that foot. And the waist is to the left of center, not square ahead. Without turning the waist, bring everything in. Right palm is folded, the right forearm is parallel to the ground, and the right fingers are pointed exactly side to side. The left hand is bent, so the left fingers are here by your thigh. You've got a bend in the elbow. The left foot has come back in by your left ankle. And now turn back to the front, sending left fingers over right wrist, squeezing a fist with the right hand, and stepping with the left. No weight. All the weight is in the back. Standing here for a second and relaxing. Make sure that you don't shift the weight. Keep everything in the back and let go of any tension. Okay, a couple more times doing the checkpoints, and then we'll make it nice. Single whip. Sit back 100%. Turn the waist. Shift, extending the left fingers. Little step with the right foot. Shift, turn, pivot, arms swing. Gather, keeping the waist left of center. Turn back to the front, sending left fingers over right wrist. Fist under elbow, all the weight in the back. Again. Stopping at every checkpoint. Sit back 100%. Left forearm lays down, right hook hand is opened up. All your weight is in the back. It's easy to float the left foot. Turn the waist, left hand and left foot directly over each other, pointed exactly towards the front wall. Shift 100%. Left arm extends, and take a little step with the right foot. Make sure your weight is still in the left leg. You haven't shifted yet. Make sure the waist is right of front. A lot of times when people step, their waists spring back towards the front already. My waist is still towards the right of front, the corner where Valerie is. Now, shift 100%. Pivot on the ball of the left foot, right palm vertical in front of you, pointed straight towards that wall, left palm open towards the lower left corner, and no weight in the left foot. Make sure you can pick your foot up. Gather, bring everything in. Waist is still left. Right forearm is parallel to the ground, right fingers are pointed between the two walls, left fingers have come by the thigh, left elbow is bent, left foot has come in by the right ankle, no weight. Think about the left fingers, think about the right wrist, turn to the front, send the left fingers over the right wrist, stepping with the left foot, making a fist, all the weight in the back. Ah, relaxing. Okay, once more with checkpoints, and then we'll swap off. Sit back 100%, turn the waist, shift the weight, take a little step. Everything happens at once, pivoting, swinging, gather, bring the hands and foot in, turn back to the front, fist under elbow. And take a break. So I did all the gory details so that you know where we're going. What we're going to watch now is the ways that the elbows change all the way through that in order to make this actually happen smoothly. So let's trade off. And then you'll get to do this a little bit more.
Okay, so looking at the elbows in the move, fist under elbow. To make it be round form, you go through all those same spots that Lee just drilled us, but you don't stop anywhere. So if I start here in single whip, the way the round form goes is that everything is connected and fluid. The hands are moving, they keep moving, they keep moving, they keep moving. So hopefully you can see that I'm going through all those checkpoints. I'm just not stopping there and making it angled. I'm trying to round off the edges, seek the straight in the heart of the curve. So here, if I stop, I'm like this, I keep going. Now I'm here. This is the next checkpoint, and it comes back to the final posture. So keeping the arms moving isn't about the arms. It's about the connection through the whole body. It's about turning the waist. It's about having the hips and knees relate to the shoulders and elbows and the feet to the hands, those harmonies Lee spoke of. So the way that the movement, once you get to this place and you're ready for this shift, just think about shift and turn. The arms follow, the elbows change, the elbows keep changing, they keep changing, they keep changing until you get to the final posture. So let's try doing it round a few times. And begin. Small step to the corner, shift, everything is following. The arms bend at the right time. You're in the left corner, you come back to the front. And again. Begin. All the weight's in the right leg. Step, shift, Small step to the right corner. As you shift and turn, the arms are following, following, following. You turn, you come back to the front. Once more. Begin. So this part's not much different. We're just not stopping at all the places. But once you step and shift, turn, let the arms follow the turning. The elbow bends and the arms come in close to the body, and then you turn back to the front and send them back out. Rest your legs. So if you just watch how the elbow moves, when I come from this place, first let's just watch this arm. It's out, 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 out. It bends and comes in. It follows the turning of the waist from being out in front to turning so that the fingers change the direction that they're pointing. So it's like something is running through your arm. Think of your elbows as like a bendy straw, and the movement should go through it. The elbow isn't just a point where it becomes very linear. So the doing it with all these checkpoints makes things kind of linear. That's the connect the dots. It's linear. It's one line and then it's another line going through the dots. So you're here and now it bends. That's very linear. What you want to do is feel like the movement goes through the elbow and takes away the corner aspect to it, the linearity, the edginess of it, and let it be a little more flowing. So right here I go through that checkpoint and it starts changing at the elbow and turns in that way. So if you think of it as a tube, then it can bend there, as opposed to thinking of it as one straight line and another straight line where this becomes just a point. So you want to feel that motion. So if you do the bear for a second, you could do it where it, let it play out. It goes through and out. That's what you want to have happen here. It goes out and flows through the elbow. Let's try it another time. Then we'll look at the left arm. Begin. Step, shift, small step to the corner. As you shift and turn, it's out and it gets drawn in by the turning of the waist. And again, paying more attention to what the right arm is doing. Sit into the back leg, step, shift, step, shift and turn. Right arm is out and it folds just with the turning of the waist. Great. Rest your legs. So then the left arm, as I come through here, all this is pretty much like it is if we were going to stop and make the checkpoint be here. But then I have to go around the corner. So I keep going, and that's bringing this arm close to me so that it can come back up and out. So if we just look at this arm, it's, get myself there. It's following, and it drops and comes in close, and then the fingertips lead back up. Now, when we say that the checkpoint for the left arm is that it's facing the palm is facing the rear corner. It doesn't mean you have to do something strange to make it do that. Yeah, now it's facing somewhere back there too, but that's a whole disconnected thing. It's just following the movement of the waist, and just if you don't put the hand somewhere, it's going to go from here to there, and now it's open to the back. So don't be fooled by that notion. That really is what it's doing, but it's easy to think, oh, now it's actually not open to the back corner anymore. So let it be less that you're doing up here, but do let it play out with the turning of the waist, and then sink and gather. It comes in close and comes back up. Okay. And begin. Step and shift. Small step with the right foot. Shift and turn. Let the arms stay alive. They don't come to a stop. They're coming in toward the body as you gather, and then come back to the final posture. And again. Shift. Step. Shift. Small, easy step with the right foot. Dantian hand still to the right of center. Shift and turn. Turn. Keep turning. The arms follow. Gather in close and back out. Great. Rest your legs. Another point I want to make about that little step with the right foot that Lee was talking about, let it be that it lands in a place that is comfortable, that's got enough space between your feet that there's room for your body to sit down in there. It's easy to go one of two directions. I mean, we all do that. We're human. We go too far or not far enough. So as I do this, if I bring this in too close, then there's no room for my body to turn and make the motion. If I bring it too far and I turn it into a step, now I can't, there's all this space where I'm not in one leg or the other, and I have to travel this way when that's not the point. The point is the spiral. So just get your foot in the comfortable place that gives it just enough room. When I let go here, just let it come so that there's enough space that you can turn and not be taken away from the image of a spiral that's running through, and your arms are like the outer arms of the spiral. So let's do it again and look for that spiral feeling. And as you do the spiral feeling, notice how important your elbows are to the notion of the spiral going through the arms. Begin. Step, shift. Step just the right amount. Shift and let that spiral play out through your arms, and then everything comes in close and back out. And again. Into the right leg, hook hand opens. Step, shift. Comfortable step to the corner. Shift and turn, spiraling. The spiral plays out into your arms. Your left to the center, you turn back to bring the whole thing around. And as you stand here, relax. No weight in your left leg. You're resting on the heel, but it's not, there's no weight there. Your knee is buoyant. Your hips are squared up to the wall, and your two arms are in this nice relationship. Rest your legs. So getting this round feeling in the arms is nice, but it's got to be driven by the waist, which is why it's really important that you stay in the corner when the arms start folding in. You don't want to turn back too soon. So here I keep turning and then turn back to the front to make that happen. If I'm already turning back to the front here, see how I haven't let go of this hip joint and I don't have any more turn this way and I'm starting to come back to the front. At this point here, give in more. Let this leg really hang, and that will give you that last little bit of turn that keeps you in the corner and that lets the spiral arm finish rather than having it just be an arbitrary bend in the elbow and arm. It's following the movement and emptying this hip joint. You can't wait till you're already here and then try and let go of it. You have to let go here so that the hips are driving the elbows, just like Lee was saying at the beginning. So let it go, and that's how you're going to have some oomph left to turn back to the front, fall over a little bit, and come back. By turning the waist, that drives the arms. Let's try that. Begin. Step. Shift. Step. Shift. Turn. Let that spiral play out in your arms. Empty that left hip joint so that everything gathers and you can turn back to the front and have that deliver the final posture. No weight in your front leg, body upright, and it's as if your elbow is touching your fist, but not exactly. And rest your legs. The final placement, this arm ends up toward your center line. So that spiral plays out and it sends, when this hip turns back to the front, it sends that arm out with it. So you want to keep that feeling of some potential in the hip here so that it actually can drive that arm forward. Let's do it another time, and we'll hold the final posture a little bit, and then we'll look at it in the whole form. There's somebody here. Begin. Emptying that hip joint and letting it turn back to the front, and that's what drives the arm. Now hold it here a moment. Really relax. Feel the tripod on the right foot. Feel the left leg empty, hanging from the socket, buoyant knee. Notice if you're throwing your right hip out in order to get the weight out of your left foot. Get your foot right underneath you. Get the torso to bypass the hip here so that you don't send energy out, but that you just have this upright quality going right through the body, through the hip. Empty the left one and let it just rest lightly on the ground at the heel. Notice if you're pulling up the foot and making tension across the front of your ankle here. Let it go. It's just a rebalancing of the leg, and it's mirrored in your arms. So let the elbows have the inverse quality of your knees. Your knees are floating, your elbows are kind of your pivot point. And just a little bit longer. Make sure you feel like you got a workout here. Breathing and relaxing. One more good breath. And take a break. So let's try to bring this into the whole form. We'll go through it without stopping and looking at things, but do keep coming back to the way that the movement goes through the elbows so that it can reach your hands. It doesn't just magically jump. The shoulders, just to review, the shoulders are dropping down through the hips, down to the ground. The elbows are hanging away. So a move like this, it's not that the elbow is up, but it's also not down. It's hanging. So let the elbow have its own quality, just notice it, becoming aware of it, not manipulating it or trying to make something happen, but just being aware of how all the motion can play out through the arm, through the tube of your elbow, not the corner piece image of the elbow, but actually something that has space for you to flow through it out to the hand. Begin. Elbows drop toward the ground, comes back out. A lot of elbow changing happening here. Just follow it. Letting the movement play out through the elbow. Noticing its changes. Moving with the hips, it's as if the hip delivers the punch. here's where we've been working. So let this play out nice and round through all the points. Noticing the elbow and hip connection you have here. Elbows changing all the way through. Notice how this movement plays out through your elbows, out to the hands. Driven by that connection between a hip and elbow. That is to say, turn the waist. And step out. Watching the movement play out through your arms. Through the elbow to the hand. Through the elbows. Elbows ride with the hips, and so they can come back out with the hips. A lot of elbow changes going on through this section. Watch how the elbows change through this move. And here as well, a lot of elbow change. Your right hip delivers the punch. Well, with any luck, you now have a lot more awareness of the elbows, and you can follow that, see what the elbows teach you, and notice when they go someplace that disconnects, that's teaching you also. So enjoy your elbows, and we'll stick around for a few minutes. Give us a hey, and see you again soon.